What if I told you that calmness isn't something you wait for? It's something you create. That even in the chaos of life, you can train your heart to stay peaceful, just like the prophet did. Most people chase peace in rare moments thinking it will just appear, but the truth is it's built, step by step, habit by habit. Imagine having a heart that doesn't panic under pressure, a mind that doesn't race when life gets messy, a soul that wakes up every morning grounded, centered, and unshakable. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact secrets he used, pausing before reacting, repeating short words that calm the heart instantly, letting go of resentment, simplifying your life, and creating tiny daily habits that transform everything. If you stay with me till the end, you'll discover how to take control of your heart and your life. No matter how chaotic the world feels, are you ready to stop waiting for calm and start creating it? Then let's dive in. The prophet prioritized inner stillness before outer action. Calm was something he created intentionally, not something he waited for. One of the most overlooked truths about the Prophet Muhammad is that his calmness wasn't a personality trait he was simply born with. It was a deliberate practice, something he built through conscious habits and spiritual discipline. Many people assume he was naturally serene, naturally patient, naturally composed. But when you study his life closely, you see something different. Before every major action, decision, or confrontation, he focused first on what was happening inside. This wasn't random. This was strategy. Whenever stress built around him, he centered himself before responding. When something unexpected happened, he paused. When people insulted him, he centered his heart before opening his mouth. This means he never allowed chaos to lead him. He led himself through chaos. He prayed before battles. He made dhikr before speaking. He reflected before deciding. He breathed and paused before reacting. This habit created a powerful pattern: inner stillness first, outer action second. And because his heart was calm, his actions were clear. He didn't rush decisions. He didn't panic in crisis. He didn't respond from ego or emotion. He responded from clarity, purpose, and presence. This is where most of us struggle today. We react faster than we reflect. We speak before we breathe. We act before we anchor ourselves. The prophet flipped that order. He knew that if the heart was unsettled, the action would be flawed. So he trained his heart daily through dhikr, dua, early mornings, simple routines, and intentional pauses. His calm wasn't a gift. It was a discipline. And it's a discipline every Muslim can practice today. One pause, one breath, one dhikr at a time. His secret, dhikr, breath-like repetition of short du'as that grounded him instantly. One of the most powerful but least understood aspects of the Prophet's emotional strength is how he used dhikr and short du'as like a form of spiritual breathing. These weren't long rituals, they weren't limited to prayer times, and they weren't spoken only in moments of crisis. They were woven into the rhythm of his day. Soft, constant, automatic, almost like the rise and fall of breath. This practice allowed him to stay grounded no matter what pressure surrounded him. When fear rose, he would say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel, not once, not loudly, but repeatedly, slowly, gently, until his heart settled. When burdened or overwhelmed, he would repeat, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It was his way of exhaling stress and inhaling calm. When seeking forgiveness, relief, or clarity, he quietly repeated, Astaghfirullah, not as a ritual, but as a reset. These phrases worked like anchors, grounding him in the middle of storms. They slowed his breathing, softened the heart, and brought his focus back to Allah. Instantly. Think about the wisdom here. Most people wait for calm to come. The Prophet created calm by returning to these short whispers of remembrance over and over until tranquility took over. That's the secret. Dhikr wasn't something he did. It was something he lived. Modern psychology calls this pattern interruption and regulation, but he practiced it 1400 years ago. These short du'as transformed emotional spikes into moments of surrender. They turned stress into stability. They turned fear into trust. They turned chaos into clarity. And this is a practice every Muslim can adopt. Start with one phrase. Repeat it gently, slowly, just like breathing. Let it settle your heart the way it settled his. He managed overwhelming moments by pausing first, before responding, emotional regulation rooted in spiritual awareness. One of the most remarkable traits of the Prophet Muhammad was his ability to stay composed during moments that would emotionally overwhelm any ordinary person. But this calmness didn't come from suppressing emotions or pretending everything was fine. It came from a simple, powerful habit. He paused before he responded. That pause was not silence. It was strategy. It was worship. It was emotional regulation born from deep spiritual awareness. Whenever he faced anger, shock, grief, confrontation, or sudden stress, he didn't jump into reaction mode the way we often do. He didn't let emotions hijack his tongue or his decisions. Instead, he would pause. Sometimes lowering his head, sometimes closing his eyes briefly, sometimes going quiet long enough that companions thought he was reflecting. What was he doing in those seconds? He was bringing his heart back to Allah. He was grounding himself. He was letting his emotions settle so his words came from wisdom, not impulse. That pause created clarity. His reactions were measured, gentle, purposeful, and controlled. Even when insulted, even when provoked, even when grief hit him suddenly, as when he buried loved ones. That pause allowed him to separate the moment from the emotion, the event from the reaction. This is what modern psychology calls emotional regulation. But the Prophet practiced it as spiritual regulation. He knew something we often forget. A disturbed heart cannot produce stable actions. So he created space between the stimulus and the response. And in that space, he returned to Allah through remembrance, breathing, and reflection. This habit is a sunnah we rarely talk about, yet it's one of the most transformative. Pause first, respond second. That's how he maintained serenity in storms, and how we can too. He practiced heart decluttering, letting go of resentment daily, choosing mercy, forgiveness, and perspective. One of the most overlooked habits of the Prophet Muhammad was his constant, intentional practice of heart decluttering. Just as people declutter their homes to feel lighter, he decluttered his heart to stay spiritually, emotionally, and mentally free. He understood something profound. No heart stays calm when it holds grudges, anger, or emotional clutter. So every single day, he released whatever could stain or harden his heart. He forgave people who hurt him, sometimes deeply. He let go of bitterness even when he had every right to hold on to it. He chose mercy when others would choose revenge. He purified his intentions before sleeping. And he made it a habit to leave the day with a heart cleaner than the morning. This wasn't weakness. It was strength. It was mastery over the ego. The Prophet knew that resentment is heavy. It chains the heart to pain. It distracts the mind, poisons interactions, and steals a person's peace. Carrying anger is like carrying stones in your chest. Every day becomes harder. So he removed those stones daily. This is why people felt calm just by being around him. His heart was not weighed down. He responded from compassion rather than emotional baggage. He saw people through the lens of understanding, not judgment. He excused, overlooked, and forgave, not because others always deserved it, but because his heart deserved peace. This practice is something we desperately need today. We collect emotional junk, resentments, grudges, old arguments, painful memories, and wonder why our hearts feel heavy. The Prophet showed us that peace comes not from holding on, but from letting go. Declutter your heart daily. Forgive intentionally. Let go of what is burning you. A clean heart is a calm heart, and this was one of his greatest secrets. He simplified his life, minimal possessions, structured routines, and mental clarity. One of the most powerful, yet rarely emphasized aspects of the Prophet Muhammad's lifestyle was how intentionally simple it was. His calmness didn't come from a quiet environment or an easy life. It came from removing anything unnecessary that could clutter his mind or overwhelm his heart. His possessions were minimal, not because he couldn't have more, he absolutely could, but because he understood that owning more often means thinking more, worrying more, maintaining more, and anything that crowded the mind also crowded the heart. So he chose simplicity deliberately. A simple home, simple clothing, simple meals, simple living. That simplicity gave him mental space, space for reflection, presence, and focus. But his simplicity wasn't only physical, it was also structural. The Prophet lived with clear, intentional routines. His mornings had structure, his nights had boundaries, his days had rhythms. He didn't rush between tasks or drown in distractions. He centered his life around purpose, not noise. By having routines, he removed randomness. And randomness is one of the greatest sources of mental chaos. He prayed on time. He reflected at night. He connected with people meaningfully. He carved out solitude. He protected his attention from unnecessary drama. This created a level of mental clarity most people today never experience. Modern life celebrates busyness, more notifications, more goals, more possessions, more noise. But the Prophet showed that true peace grows from the opposite: less clutter, fewer distractions, more intentional living. Simplicity wasn't a limitation for him, it was liberation. It freed his heart to focus on what truly mattered. It allowed him to stay calm even during intense stress, and it protected his mind from being pulled in 20 different directions. If you want inner peace, simplify your outer world. If you want mental clarity, simplify your routines. His life is proof that simplicity isn't just practical, it's spiritual. He trained his heart through consistent small habits, not rare big spiritual moments, e.g. morning adhkar, gratitude, night reflection. One of the greatest misunderstandings Muslims have today is thinking that spiritual strength comes from occasional big moments, Ramadan bursts, emotional du'as, rare nights of worship, or once-in-a-while spiritual highs. But the Prophet Muhammad showed the opposite reality. True transformation happens through small, consistent habits practiced every single day. He didn't wait for big spiritual nights to connect with Allah. He built a heart that stayed connected through steady, simple routines. Every morning he began with adhkar, short grounding phrases that aligned his heart before the day pulled him in different directions. These weren't long recitations, they were small anchors that set the emotional tone for his entire day. He expressed gratitude constantly, not once a year, not once a week, every single day. Gratitude softened his heart, shifted his perspective, and kept stress from taking over. At night, he reflected. He reviewed his day, purified his intentions, and asked for forgiveness. That nightly self-check prevented emotional buildup, regret, or spiritual stagnation. It was like clearing the heart's trash before going to sleep. None of these habits were huge. None required extraordinary effort. But together they trained his heart the way tiny exercises build incredible strength. The secret isn't intensity. The secret is consistency. Modern life trains us to crave dramatic moments, instant change, quick fixes, emotional peaks, but the Prophet built his inner peace slowly, steadily, and deliberately through small practices repeated thousands of times throughout his life. And this is exactly why his heart stayed calm. Small habits shaped his mindset. Small habits regulated his emotions. Small habits kept his heart connected to Allah. If you want a heart like his, don't wait for big moments. Start with small daily habits. They're the real engines of spiritual change. When you look at the life of the Prophet Muhammad, you begin to see something extraordinary. His calm heart was not a miracle handed to him. It was a masterpiece he built. Every pause, every dhikr, every act of forgiveness, every moment of simplicity, every small daily habit was a brick in the foundation of his tranquility. He didn't wait for peace to arrive. He created it intentionally, consistently, and spiritually. And this is the lesson for us. Your heart does not become calm by accident. Your mind does not become clear by chance. Your soul does not become strong through rare emotional moments. It all begins with the same tools the Prophet used: pausing before reacting, grounding yourself with dhikr, letting go of resentment, simplifying your life, and committing to small daily habits that train your heart. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to start with one practice, one pause, one breath, one dhikr, one act of mercy. Peace is not far from you. Peace is something you can build, just like he built it. And when you take these small steps consistently, you'll feel it. Your chest softening, your mind quieting, your heart growing lighter. This is the path to a calm heart, and it's a path available to you starting right now. Thank you so much for listening and for giving your heart the chance to grow. May Allah fill your days with clarity, your nights with peace, and your life with the same calmness the Prophet lived with. I wish you strength, consistency, and blessings on this journey. Good luck, and may your heart find the peace it's been searching for.